This program provides free support for electric vehicle charging equipment and fleet electrification planning, design, engineering, and technical assistance. Next slide, please. So we'll start off with some short introductions, and then we'll move into an overview of Plan Your Fleet and what your next steps are going to look like. We'll have about 15 minutes of Q&A at the end of the presentation. Next slide, please. And I'll start by introducing myself. I'm Rachel Lord. I'm an electric vehicle analyst at Optony. We also have Byron Pachter, our CEO, and Natalie Hansen, our Director of Energy Programs. They could not make it today, but we do have Coleman Thompson on the call. I'll let him introduce himself.
Hi, everyone. My name is Coleman. I'm an energy analyst with Optony.
All right, next slide, please. So let's talk a little more about Plan Your Fleet. So Plan Your Fleet will help 3CE's member agencies plan for transitioning your fleets to EVs and prepare for the EV charging infrastructure that must accompany an all-electric fleet. This program will help you leverage the Charge Your Fleet and Electrify Your Ride programs. And best of all, it is a free service, so you should take full advantage of this program. This program is open now until September 2024. Plan Your Fleet offers EV charging project planning to all of its member agencies, and it offers fleet replacement planning to member agencies who have a higher need. Higher need agencies are defined as those with smaller or limited staff, those with no EV procurement plans, or those with limited budget. This will be identified through the intake form, which will be sent out following this meeting. Next slide, please. There are many different deliverables available through this program, including an EV fleet replacement plan, a charging needs assessment, charging installation plans, permit-ready plans, a funding overview, or an energy optimization plan. Member agencies may take advantage of all or some of these deliverables depending on what you need. Next slide. Plan Your Fleet can help make sure you're on the right path. It can help you prepare for the Advanced Clean Fleets regulation, which is set to take effect January 1st, 2024. It can help you align with your climate action plan, if you have one, and find opportunities for vehicle fuel or maintenance savings through fleet electrification. Next slide, please. So let's talk a little bit more about advanced clean fleets and what that might mean for you. For state and local government agencies, starting in 2024, 50% of your medium or heavy duty truck, van, and bus purchases must be zero emission vehicles. Starting in 2027, 100% of these purchases must be zero emission vehicles. There are exemptions that we can help you identify, and we can help you plan ahead to ensure compliance with advanced clean fleets. Okay, here I will hand the presentation over to Coleman to continue discussion about the services that are offered by Plan Your Fleet.
Thank you, Rachel. So I'll just go ahead and talk about some of the services that we offer. Broadly speaking, we offer two major services. Those are going to be the whole fleet assessment and the charging infrastructure project. In a little bit more detail, the whole fleet assessment includes a fleet vehicle study, a charging infrastructure needs assessment, a charging optimization plan, as well as an analysis of funding and financing opportunities for fleet electrification. The charging infrastructure project includes a charging infrastructure design, analysis of energy management systems, as well as funding and financing recommendations for all of those components. As you can see by the arrow at the bottom of the slide, all of these components sort of follow sequentially into one another. So we would start with a vehicle study, then move on to a charging infrastructure needs assessment, provide funding and financing recommendations for those elements, follow up with a charging optimization plan, infrastructure design, and further funding recommendations. Next slide, please. So let's say you're interested in this program and you'd like to apply. There are 3 steps that you're going to need to follow in order to do so. The first thing that you should do is review the data collection checklist that 3CE will send out in an email after this call. Next, you're going to look through that checklist and gather all of the necessary fleet data that you can to the greatest extent possible. And finally, you're going to want to complete the 3CE Plan Your Fleet intake form, which will include uploading your fleet inventory and vehicle fueling data if you have it. Excuse me. While we don't require a participation agreement, we do assume that those engaging in this program do have the full support of their management team prior to completing that intake form. Next slide, please. So now I'll talk in a little bit more detail about what pieces of data we actually are going to need. There are more elements to the data collection than are displayed on this specific slide, but these elements are going to be the ones that are going to be the most important for us to have. They broadly fall into 2 categories, those relevant to your vehicle inventory and those relevant to your vehicle usage data. For the vehicle inventory, we're going to need equipment IDs or VIN numbers for those vehicles, the vehicle make and model, their odometer readings, what fuel types they're using, their expected lifetime, either in years or in miles, their manufacture year, and their domicile facility and the addresses of those facilities. For the vehicle usage data, we could use 12 months of fueling transactions, annual vehicle mileage, or vehicle telematic data. In general, for the vehicle usage, we need at least one set of the data from this list. So if you don't have telematics data, that's okay. We can make do with fueling transactions or mileage, as an example. Next slide, please. As far as the timing is concerned, as Rachel mentioned, this program sunsets in September of 2024. Implementation is on a first-come, first-served basis for all applicants, so there is an advantage to applying as soon as you can. Each full engagement will take 6 to 12 months, not including construction, and the project is going to be divided into 2 phases or years. Year 1, starting now, will implement 3 whole fleet assessments and 3 charging infrastructure project plans. Year 2 will start in fall of 2023, and it will implement 5 of each of those elements. That means there will be a total of 8 whole fleet assessments and 8 charging infrastructure project plans. I'd also like to point out that we recognize not all member agencies will need, want, or be eligible to take advantage of both the fleet replacement planning and the EV charging project planning services offered under the Plan Your Fleets program. So we will meet you where your need is and where your eligibility is. Next slide, please. Thanks so much, everyone, for listening to us. If you have questions, please contact Judy at the email on the screen. If you don't have time to write it down, these slides will be sent out after the presentation. Furthermore, if you are ready to apply, please use the link on this slide. As I mentioned, we'll send out the slides after the presentation, so you will be able to have those at your disposal. And with that done, I will open the floor to questions and comments. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much, Rachel and Coleman. So if you would like to ask a question, feel free to use the raise hand function and we can call your name so you can unmute yourself, or feel free to write your questions or comments in the chat as well.
So just a little bit of housekeeping. I'm going to stop the recording now, and then I'm going to package up the presentation and send that out to the wide audience. And then I'm going to start the recording again just to capture the Q&A for our internal purposes, and any questions and answers will not be released outside of our own agency. So feel free to ask your questions and